Hello! Today's video is about part of our boat building experience that hasn't gone remotely close to as planned. First off, I want to say we're really happy with the boat. It's worked great. I'd say easily exceeded our expectations for how it performs. We've really enjoyed it. We've only spent, only 4 nights on it. Put about 18 hours of running time on it, and yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this boat. However, we have run into a situation that I did not foresee. I'm sure some people would have foreseen it, but not me. We live on the Kawartha Lakes on the Trent Severn. It's a fairly busy boating area. The locks are they're the busiest on the Trent Severn, and I think for anyone who's done the loop, they would probably say they're the busiest locks on the loop. And I would not be messing around with these big expensive boats, and all the other ones too, without insurance. So 2 days before launch, I phoned my insurance company, who I have my house and my cars and my other boat, and I said, yeah, I built this boat, I want to insure it, thinking it'd be as simple as give me some details and we'll get that written up for you. And they said, yeah, we don't insure houseboats or home-built boats, so you're going to have to find someone else for that. All right, who would you recommend then? And they got back to me with a company in Ottawa, which is 3 hours from here. And I phoned them and they never even returned my call. So long story short is, if you want to build a boat and if you want to insure it, so if you run into somebody or blow up or whatever, hey, I assume even somebody steps onto your boat and slips and gets hurt, whatever, and someone decides to sue you, I really only care about liability. I don't care about insuring the boat against whatever. I'll deal with that. But I want liability. I just don't think in today's day and age you can be out there without liability, unless you're going to just be off on some quiet waters all by your lonesome and you'll be fine. So, long story short, it's really hard to get insurance on a boat like this. And I contacted numerous companies. Most never got back to me. Thankfully, one company did get back to me, and it sounds like they will insure me, so that's great. But they required a out-of-water survey to obviously see what it is they're insuring. Even though they're not insuring the boat, I guess they want to know that the boat's safe and not going to cause, damages to boats around it or whatever. So I said, no problem. And then I went through the process of getting it surveyed. Even that wasn't too hard, but the first couple ones I called said, oh no, we don't survey home-built boats. We only do, manufactured boats. However, one of them gave me the name of someone. He came and surveyed it. I was able to get a surveyor to come and look at the boat. So yeah, before he came, we went out and we spent 3 nights on the boat while we could, and then we had to haul it out of the water, put it on the trailer, which that went well, and brought it home so he could check over the boat. I had already talked to him on the phone for about half an hour before he came, and I'd learned enough already to know that this wasn't going to be a simple, rubber stamp. So it ends up, I've got some work to do, I've got some money to spend. So things like the fuel system, I want to make sure I do it right. I don't want to blow the boat up. So I did a lot of research on that. I found out what the rules are, what the requirements were, and I did it as close as I could to the rules. Now, he had a couple of minor things that I didn't have the fuel filler grounded, so he said, you have to put a ground on the fuel filler. Well, that's not a big deal. I can do that. But yeah, things like the fuel system, the engine installation, thankfully I had a 120-page PDF from Volvo Penta. It went over everything from engine compartment prep, ventilation, the whole 9 yards. So it was very thorough, and I have 0 issues with the engine installation. Absolutely nothing on the survey concerning the engine. Where I have a lot of issues is one of those things where I thought I knew what I was doing, so I didn't give it much research, and that was a big mistake. Thankfully, not a huge money mistake, more a huge time mistake. But the wiring on the boat, I have to replace a whole lot of it. When it comes to the wiring, where I ran into trouble wasn't because I didn't know enough, it's because I knew too much. Unfortunately, the too much I knew wasn't the right stuff. I've wired many houses, I did renovations, I'd get them inspected. I know how to wire a house, and I carried that house wiring knowledge over to the boat, not realizing that there's a lot of different rules when you get to a boat. So the first biggie is the wire you use for the AC wiring, the 110 volt. In a house, it's a solid copper, 14 gauge strand. You use 14-2 wire with a ground, but it's solid wire. Well, in a boat, you are not allowed to have any solid wire anywhere in the boat. It all has to be stranded wire. And so first thing I have to do is rip out all the AC wire, because I used standard household wire. And I have this thing, I don't like to spend money if I can find a way that I can save some, and that does me well a lot of the time, but in this case not so well, because obviously, as everyone knows, as soon as you throw the word marine on it, boom, up goes the price. So I used household wiring, but wrong stuff. So all the wire has to be ripped out and replaced with marine stranded wire. You can't use wire nuts. I understand why. I don't blame them. Actually, I hardly used any of them. The only place I used them pretty much was in the lights on the ceiling. They were, I don't know, it's like they're not critical at all. They're just, if a wire nut came off so a light doesn't work, it's 12 volt, you fix that. But anyway, bottom line is no wire nuts. So I have to put crimp connectors on all those things. That stuff's, a little job, but no biggie. And the other thing, the one where the money really starts to add up, I'll show you what that's all about. For a power distribution center, I used an RV AC/DC panel here. It's got all the AC breakers here, all the DC fuses down here. It also has a built-in battery charger down in the bottom part here that charges the house batteries. The whole unit was around $400. It does the job great, really happy with it. Problem is, it's not marine, and that involves a whole lot more than you think. First issue is, to do any wiring on it, you pull out these two screws, pop this front off, and you can do the wiring. Well, as soon as you take the cover off, your DC wiring and your AC wiring are all exposed. To meet the requirements for a boat, there has to be another step requiring tools to get to the AC wiring, so you don't accidentally mess around here and not realize there's hot stuff over here that could hurt you. First problem. Second problem is they do not allow on marine for you to put a wire into, say on these circuit breakers, there's a screw, you stick the wire in and tighten the screw against the wire. Because it's stranded wire, they're afraid when you tighten that screw it snaps off little strands. So everything has to be done with an eye, or I think they call it a captive spade, where it goes in on each side of the screw but it curls up on the end, so if the screw even loosens a bit it can't fall off. So all these are done by just sticking the wire in and cranking a screw down against it. So that panel, gone. Can't use it. And like I say, I spent about $400 on this panel. Well, to do essentially the same thing, a little marine AC panel, a little marine DC panel, and to get a charger, I'm going to be in the neighborhood of $2,000. And that's a big difference in what I spent, obviously. But I can't see any way to do it any cheaper. I wondered if I could, add a panel in here that would protect, so you couldn't get at the AC without using tools to get there. That would meet that requirement, but it doesn't take care of the fact that the breakers and everything else are all these screw terminals. And the same, I installed a couple bus bars that are the same style, but they need to be changed out with ones that use eyelets, and just a whole bunch of stuff like that. The DC is better, other than there were a couple places that I still used a solid wire, like for my solar down from my panels up top, so I have to replace that. But overall, the DC's pretty good. It's the AC that I basically have to redo, and of course the panel for the DC and everything. So yeah, lesson learned. Thankfully, it's not going to cost me a lot of wasted money that I've already spent. Obviously this unit here, that's the biggest thing that I may try to sell it. I may, I don't know, keep it as a spare for my travel trailer, although I can't imagine that needing to be replaced. Thankfully, as far as all this solid wire that I have to rip out and replace, most of that I salvaged from the travel trailer that I dismantled to make the boat trailer for the boat. I examined it to make sure it wasn't damaged anywhere that had nicks in the insulation or whatever. I cut off, and I checked with an ohm meter to make sure it was good, and I reused a whole bunch of wire that I pulled out of that trailer. So no money spent there. Just now I have to spend money on the marine grade wire to replace it. And the DC wiring from the trailer, I scooped a whole lot of the 12 volt wiring out of the trailer, and thankfully that stuff he didn't have an issue with, so I can leave it and carry on. But yeah, at the end of the day, the big thing here is the wiring. He also has an issue with my propane stuff. For the propane fridge and stove, I bought my hoses off Amazon, and they don't have little UL labels certifying that they're up to the job. And yeah, he looks at the hoses, he says, so where'd you buy these? They don't have any information on them. Amazon? Oh, just rolls his eyes. So yeah, so I have to replace all the propane lines with certified proper lines. And yeah, again, like, they all work great, and when I bought them on Amazon it says they're for propane, but there isn't a little label to say it is, so sorry, you can't use it. So yeah, lesson learned. Again, I had no idea. I've had people ask me, so do you have to like get a building inspection or whatever to make sure the boat's safe? And I said, no, it's up to you to, because it's for personal use. I had no problems licensing it with the Department of Transport. They gave me, you just sent them a picture of the boat, told them the length and width and a couple things, and they give you a number, a registration number to stick on the side of the boat. Wham bam, nothing to it. But as I talked to the surveyor, and he said, yeah, basically nobody checks to see if boats are safely built, properly wired, whatever. Even when the police stop you on the water, they ask, they want to see your life jackets, your fire extinguishers, whatever, but they don't, start checking over the wiring of the boat or anything like that. That's not their concern. They're just looking for the safety equipment. So he said basically the only oversight to see that boats are safe, and this goes for used boats and new boats and every boat on the water, the only oversight to see if they're in a fit condition and safe to be used is the insurance industry. And they've just got to a point where they don't want to insure a boat. Obviously they're limiting their liability and their risk, so they want someone to look it over and tell them whether this is a safe boat for them to insure. And so I'd never given it a moment's thought, and now I'm getting into actually doing what I have to do to get this to where I can have him come and resurvey. Now he says it won't cost as much as the first time. He will only look at the issues and see that they were fixed. He doesn't do a complete redo of the survey, so that'll be in the spring before that happens. But I'm getting into doing what I have to do to bring them back. The inside of all the cupboards are lined with the 1/8 inch birch plywood, but I've made the floors of them. I've got a somewhere there's a little finger hole to pick it up. Now this one, because of the plumbing pipes and the hinges, requires a little more. But yeah, I've made out all the cupboards so I can get under them if I have to. So yeah, now I'm in the process of opening all up so I can get at the AC wire, which I've taken off all my little zip ties that hold them in place. And yeah, going all the way down through all these cupboards, opening everything up, and I'm gonna have to yank the fridge out and get in there to change some propane things and that. But yeah, I'm just, you know, and he had a few other issues because I knew after I talked to him, I got him to hold off a couple weeks to come so I could finish a bunch of things. Like this is the shower drain, a bilge pump in there, and then a hose out to that through hull fitting. My plan was I want to finish all this stuff before he comes, but then once I knew that I had a whole bunch of wiring that wasn't going to be up to snuff and everything, I kind of figured, well, if I go and do a whole bunch of work and then when he comes he tells me it's no good and I have to rip it out, that's just stupid. So I didn't finish some things like that. So of course all these wires laying around in here, they're not live, they're laying at the other end. They're part of his report says there's wires laying around that aren't finished. Well, yes, that's because I decided not to finish. But yeah, so that stuff and this hole through the side of the boat there and stuff were all concerns of his. But that's just because I said I'm not doing any more till I know kind of what it is I have to do and how I have to do it. Because yeah, I built this whole boat. I tried my best to make it nice, strong, safe, enjoyable. And it is. I mean, it handles great, it runs great, everything about it is, we're really happy with it. But what I didn't know was that I had to have a survey done so I'd be able to get insurance on it. And I don't know what I would have done different if I'd known that. I maybe would have dug a little deeper on some of the stuff, but like I say, I thought, I know how to wire. I've done it for 40, 50 years. I can install some outlets and a few things. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I thought I had my boat pretty much finished. I had a couple little pieces of trim to put on that hadn't happened. Like over here in this corner, there's a joint here that needs a little batten strip. I'd made up a bunch and I ran a little short and I have to make up a few more feet. But I mostly had the boat finished, and now I'm opening things up and ripping wires out and putting new stuff in, and fun.